Meantime salutations to all you internet dwellers out there, and welcome to another episode of Screen Time Continuum. I am Nick, and I am joined with the boys, as always. Elon, what is up, man?
Can't complain. Doing very well on this Sunday evening.
Evening? Sure. And we got the mustard here. What's going on, man?
This is my last treat.
So your last treat for the evening? Or ever?
Just here in my little tiny closet.
Oh, okay.
And I was debating about, no, I don't want anymore. You guys don't need to hear me smacking. Yes, I'm having a good Sunday.
Good to hear.
You should get your treats, man. I understand.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, treat yourself. It's all good.
I'll do that next week, Friday.
Sounds good. Sounds like payday to me. Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope that you're having a wonderful evening or whenever you're listening to us. We very much appreciate you guys tuning in. Please be sure to give us a subscribe and a like on our YouTube page at Screen Time Continuum. It would really help us out trying to grow that audience. If you like what we do here, just feel free to leave a comment and hit that like button for us and subscribe. We appreciate you so much. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a movie that we kind of preluded last week called Ron. I'm going to get it. This is a terrible title for me. Ron's Gone Wrong.
Unstoppable, back and powerful.
Even when you say it right, it doesn't feel like you're saying it right.
It sounds like a Kim Possible side piece porno.
Yeah, that's, well.
Or just a Kim Possible
none of my
movie,
business.
Based on Ryan.
There you go. Ron's Gone Wrong was directed by Sarah Smith, Jean-Philippe Vine, and Octavio E. Rodriguez. It was also written by Peter Bainham and Sarah Smith. Stars Jack Dylan Grazer, Zach Galifianakis, and Ed Helms, just to name a few. And the movie is about, I don't know, a defective robot, which is kind of the essence of the film. The robot's voiced by Zach Galifianakis, and Barney, the main character kid, voiced by, I believe, what's his name? Jack Dylan Grazer.
The kid from Shazam.
Oh, there you go.
Really?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so everybody in this world has something called a B-bot, which is this next evolution in smartphone. It's basically a robot that, is your best friend. Of course, Barney's family is a little bit too poor to afford a B-bot, so through some back alley deals, they procure a damaged B-bot for Barney. And all sorts of chaos and hijinks ensue, and we learn a little bit more about the true meaning of friendship. And I thought this was a good movie to sort of piggyback on from last week, continuing in the animation style. So let's just get right into first impressions. Who wants to go first? What did you guys think?
I enjoyed this movie. It's interesting. I see exactly how watching last week's movie, Mitchells versus the Machines, how it could remind you of this. Like they're almost the exact same universe happening like 5 years apart or something like that. Like I would almost say like Ron's Gone Wrong was like the prelude to what could happen, and then they tried to take it up to another notch, and you end up at Mitchells versus the Machines.
Definitely.
So yeah, I enjoyed this movie. There were a lot of very strong key points for adults and for children. I know this is a kids movie per se, but there are lessons that I think not just we all need to learn, but we all need to be reminded of. And I love the journey that Ryan takes, but I also love the journey that Barney takes, because at first we really think this movie is about Barney, and then we have to realize like the title is called Ron's Gone Wrong, and we haven't focused on Ron much. So
yeah, and that's even kind of one of the big lessons in the movie that we can talk about later as well. But Dijon, what did you think?
You know what? I like this movie, and I mentioned it that I've seen it before we watch Mitchells versus the Machines. Then rewatching it earlier today, I realized like They're both good movies. I like
Mhm.
this one a little bit better. The other movie I prefer comedic wise, but this one was much more heartfelt and cute,
Mhm.
and definitely hit a lot of notes on society, basically hitting on the whole concept of a person in their phones
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
where we're gonna go more so social wise.
Mhm.
Um, in that sense of things. So yeah, it was pretty good. It was nice. I love the twist that it went from thinking it's just going to be about this kid, and then just kind of warping and being like, no, we're going to segue into this one kid is just one of many issues
Mhm.
that the world is having, and it's not
Mhm.
just him.
Right.
And they did it very tastefully, versus other stuff that people not considerably, but can actually do it beat by beat, or they just stumble upon trying to do something like this.
Right.
Mhm.
I would even say, for those who've had the luxury, and if you haven't, take a peek at this other movie. It gave me Indian in the Cupboard vibes. Like if you were to put that on a mass scale, like what that was supposed to be, or Toy Soldiers. We were fortunate to have a couple of movies that had a lot of these same lessons and feelings in them, but it reminded me of that. And you
Mhm.
don't get that a lot nowadays. You get an attempt at that, but this definitely executed that.
Mhm.
That's funny you say that, because Indian in the Cover was that was a 20th Century Fox movie too as well
Mm,
back then. And just going back to what we were saying last week Sunday, there is a lot of good animated movies that are out there that is actually kind of pushed into the shadow. They're just kind of like shot down quickly,
mhm.
for us as the audience to go venture off and have variety. I mean, a variety of animated movies, because we see an animated movie, we got to see something that's Pixar, Disney related. That's the
Mhm.
only thing that's like force fed down to us. And these movies from Mitchell's versus Machines, that being a Netflix slash Sony picture film, to this being a Fox movie. Well, it's funny because now it's a Disney thing, but it was a Fox
Yeah.
thing before it became Disney.
Mm.
So, you know, if you didn't see this on Disney Plus, it's on HBO Max as well,
Mm.
Okay.
which is cool. Probably old contracts. That's why it's there.
Mhm.
But they need a, you know, man up or company up too.
Company, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I enjoyed sort of off the bat is that this, we get so many movies that are about sort of like dystopian tech and things where I'm like, well, I would never want that if that were the case or if that were a possibility in the future. I would actually consider having a Bebot, to be honest,
Yeah.
because I think they're kind of cool. I mean, it would be logistically a nightmare if everybody in the world had a Bebot, but
Mhm.
uh, I think it's kind of a cool thing to have as like a little sort of robot sidekick. But then
Well,
again, what
you kind
it's
of can already.
what's that? Well, yeah, you can
Yeah.
I'm
sort
trying
of.
to remember what it's called, but I think it's something Amazon and Disney partner up to make. They've had a couple for a year. For a
You.
year, starts with an M or something. And I was thinking about getting one for my kid, and it
Mm,
reminds me a lot of this. And he reads people
yeah,
moods and everything, and
Mhm.
like they're like advanced Furbies.
Basically,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
they have basically, if we think about it, these are security drones. They have toy ones, and then they have actual lethal ones.
they're
Mm,
called Miko.
Migo,
mm,
I never heard of those. But essentially, that they all fall into the same category. Like you can program to do so much, and there's fun components to them.
mhm. Yeah.
I'm kind of with you, Nick. Like I would want one. My question for myself is, to what extent would I want one? Like, would I want
Yeah.
one to walk around with me and outside the house, or would I hide it in the shadows, or like I
That's
Right.
a
don't, it's a
pervert.
question. Yeah, yeah,
That's a
exactly.
pervert who just bought them a sex doll.
Well, I mean, it would
Right.
be a 24-hour surveillance device, so I guess
And that's where
there's trade-offs there, and I like that this movie sort of addresses that too.
Mhm.
Like, there's two of the tech moguls in this one. They were, the guy who creates the code
like
and the
that.
robots, and then you have like the capitalist dude that wants to like just make money, and
Which is-
and they address the fact that these tech companies are just data scraping everything. And,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
I was just gonna add, I think that's more realistic than the typical. You have the one guy who's in control of everything.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh no, this one guy, he made this company what it is, and he created everything, and everything is his brainchild. It's like, no, you have one super smart person who
Right.
probably works in the tech side, and then you have this other person who's really good at marketing and
Yeah.
disruption. Essentially, that's what we'll call it.
Mhm.
Or
The
that's what I would call
finance, or like the money side, and then the creative side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It takes a team every time.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's just get into sort of things that we liked about this movie. I don't know if we have to go through the whole story. What I will say is,
easy story.
I enjoyed Zach Galifianakis as Ron. I like Ron as a character. I think he's actually really good. I found myself laughing quite a bit at
Ron.
just
dumb.
just the dumb shit Ron would do.
Just dumb. He was a great relief. The hot points, not really step by step, but the hot points. We start and it's Barney's birthday.
Mhm.
Well, first we're introduced to the Bubble Corp and the Bebot, but that was short lived. It was pretty straight to the point. Bebot's gonna do everything that all of the automation in real life does today from this one machine.
Mhm.
But it being Barney's birthday, I think really set a tone.
Yeah.
It set a tone for the fact like he was being ignored at school, but it wasn't because people didn't know him. They were acknowledging his existence and he was there, but nobody was paying attention to it. It was his birthday, because with him not having a Bebot, they didn't have his social information.
Right. Exactly. He's not plugged in. It's like not having a Facebook or an Instagram account. You know what I mean? It's like, and then you just you end up talking to a lot of nobody people. No, you're like nobody at all, because everybody's on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah.
Right. And of course his dad and his dad and his grandmother wouldn't get it because his grandmother is his grandmother. They're not going to get it. And, dad kind of lives this life where he works in this little office in the house. So where does he go? What interactions does he have? We never once through the entire movie see any of his friends. And I think that really is who we're dealing with when you look at Barney. Like, he is the walking image of everything around him.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't talk about that as much as just show it to you.
Yeah.
And
of course,
I think the best way they show that is when we start to get to see the father and the grandmother. They get that breakthrough where they start to understand Barney and what Barney's going through, because even his friends didn't realize they weren't being his friends anymore. And I also thought about how long were they dealing with how long have they had Bebots? They had to be fresh, like in the first year.
Yeah, maybe like a year or so. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much when we start there. That sets the tone. And I don't know. I thought it was kind of crazy that it would have such a malfunction from falling off the truck. But if it had that level of a malfunction, I would have assumed it just wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, considering the things he gets into afterwards, falling off of a truck shouldn't have screwed him up that much. But what I guess you get is like it did enough so that it couldn't connect to the network, right?
And I'm thinking that's really what it did, is it knocked out his network array. And from there, everything else ensues. It's like, nah, it's a machine. It just didn't have the correct code yet.
Right.
I'll tell you this. Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5. Have you moved them big ass behemoths too many times? Maybe 2-3 times? The HDMI little port wiggles out.
Oh no.
And you can't push it in. So
no.
You better take the cord out before you move it.
No, even if you take it out, you just can't be taking that cord in and out.
Right.
So, technology of today, and this is supposed to be, powerful shit. I can understand what happened with Rowan.
No, my TV's like that. If I take out one of the HDMI cords, this just doesn't work anymore.
that coil, they don't make that little coil input good enough like they
Right.
should.
Mhm.
Oh man, listen, to just so we all know that I think every machine is built in some wonky way.
Yep.
Surround sound was connected to one particular system. Everything was fine. Just switch the TVs. Didn't switch anything else. Just the TV.
Mhm.
Nothing works.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
it's
I wouldn't.
like
Come on,
so-
you want something seamless. That's why you got to buy all the things that are connected to the other things, so that you can have a constant surveillance grid.
Yeah,
This is also why
the variant
technology's on
version.
sale. Right.
Yeah.
This is why stuff's on sale every couple of months.
You don't need surround sound when you can have like 4 Amazon Alexas,
Oh,
just
God.
around your house.
Just
Play
connect them all
surround.
together
Yeah.
and tell it to play what you have on the screen, because you're already
Mhm.
you're definitely playing that through a Fire Stick, which is Amazon.
Right.
So it can get,
Exactly.
And then wait till you're Amazon, Alexa start talking shit back to you.
no.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right. South
Somebody
Park
Oh
style.
yeah.
finally caught up, huh? You did say that a minute ago. But yeah, so I also thought it was interesting. He had Barney had that teacher who was so incessant on him, and oh, my buddy bench is gonna help you get friends, like kooky lady.
Oh yeah, and so that the eye roll of like the coddling sort
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
it's a little critique on like the way we treat kids with this weird like disconnected understanding of what their social lives are like now. It's like, oh,
Right.
just go sit on a bench and you go make friends because it says buddy bench.
Buddy
It's
bench,
like when all the kids are looking at him like, dude, and he even knows like they're not going to talk to me, like especially
Worse
now.
because you're sitting there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny, but I don't know. Wouldn't the adults? I don't know. Okay, so here's the thing. In a lot of movies, adults just have this disconnect, and sometimes I wish they wouldn't write that disconnect in. An adult that's my teacher and has been my teacher for X amount of years, because they're clearly like in junior high, maybe right still in the end of elementary. That it's just my dad and my mom passed, and it's my grandmother, and we can't afford it. Like, bruh, help me. I'm not saying buy me anything, but I'm saying like don't put me in worse situations.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I'll tell you this, but when the writers write these things, man, dude,
They're writing from a place of hurt and trauma.
Yeah. well, not even that. It's a straightforward reality. A lot
Mm.
of these teachers are disconnected, dude. And
This is
Yeah.
true.
I just started a job working at an elementary school, and holy crap, man! I see these teachers like, do you guys got any
They do
kids?
great jobs,
No.
and they are doing everything right.
And I see how they
Just-
look at these kids.
Just to protect your job there, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything they're doing is fantastic.
1000% perfect.
Yeah.
But I
Don't
truly,
It's
look over your
alright.
shoulder.
there is
They're as efficient as dung beetles.
disconnect.
Yeah.
They're less efficient than squirrels, but
I will say one thing that I caught the second time around, because I've seen this twice now. I realize only children have bubble bots. And that's kind of creepy because that's kind of like a mentality a big tech company would have.
Yes.
It's like, we want to have your data from day one.
well, I
We
think
don't want to. We don't want to. We're not going to waste our bots on adults because they've
Right.
already lived too much of their lives. We can't map.
right,
So
exactly.
give them to kids so that way you can map their entire lives for them.
Exactly. Well, so I think excuse me. It hit on two things. So that's one. Maybe some of these things are being marketed to children, but adults are still kind of falling victim to it, and or added to that first point. It's talking to the current generation, like of adults, the 30-year-olds, the early 40-year-olds, late 30s. Yeah, this is what they've been doing to you your entire life.
Right.
Mhm.
Easily the last 16, 17 years of our lives for sure.
Mhm.
But at the exact same time, I think when you get to the point of the split, the two different people in charge, the other guy, once he's out and you introduce the Ron algorithm to the existing algorithm or code, excuse me, you now have the ability for the B-bots to learn the adults, so it could open it up for adults to have it. But originally, yes, definitely scary, because I was thinking that, like, if you hate children, why is all of the products
Well,
uh
that's just one of the things that you think about it from past marketing or just marketing in general, man. Like, who do you really want to market things? Because an adult is easier to, unless
adults
that
say
adult
no.
has that. Yeah, they say no, and if they have that, unless they have that childish mentality or that mentality of just, I shouldn't say childish, but that immature mentality where they're like,
Well, it's like
no responsibility in a sense. They can care less on what they spend their money or do what they do. Child, they know they got it. They know they got it because the parents are easily have to submit to the child's well-being to a point because they kind of deal with so much crap.
Well, think about it this way too. They could get to a point like this tech company is doing. Like, say you have a bubble bot in real life, and they're only giving it to children when they're born.
Yeah,
that bubble bot stays with that child. By 10 years in, I guarantee you that bubble bot will know when that kid's going to die.
Yeah.
It'll know how it's going to die and when it's going to die.
I believe
because
that.
it'll have 10 years of information about that kid.
You're going to have to change some real serious character patterns after that first 10 years. You're right.
But I mean, that's all it takes. And I think that's why the targeting of kids is by these like data scraping, projects is really crazy, because what it is kind of bringing in is this world where an algorithm will probably predict your future and know exactly what you're going to do before you do it. Like, they already know what you're going to buy before you buy it. Yeah. They know when women are pregnant before the women know. So,
and not from the test.
No, not from the test. No, just one tiny little variation in your search, history.
Or you swept in their health app.
Right.
BPM is a button not changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of way that they monitor you people, and hey,
you people.
You people.
What do you mean they monitor you people? I had to take the long pause.
Yeah.
Yes, you people. Jeez. But even within that, so they tried to crush. I was going to call him Barney. They tried to crush Ron. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
I keep getting that in my head.
That was pretty cool though. But you created a robot that's supposed to be a friend, and it protected its kid.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what you made it to do?
Yeah.
What are we upset about? I mean, clearly Mark wasn't upset, but what's the other guy named? Eric? What was his name?
Oh, I forget.
Yeah. Whatever. Albuquerque.
When he tried to pull his head off.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, but at the end of the day, he tried to protect him, and that's what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And so Barney returns the favor.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate. I think that's when this movie really got started. And also we saw that was the initial part of where we saw Mark start to get his like, oh man, this is really gotta, I really gotta help these people out. Like, this is what I made this to do. Mm-hmm. So from there, it kind of just becomes a fun whirlwind.
Yeah.
Like, that's all the real information. Like, it becomes a fun whirlwind of just stuff happening. What else? What comes next?
I mean, basically they just kind of have become friends, and Barney teaches Ron about friendship, and Ron teaches Barney about friendship. I think that was pretty good.
He's having fun, and he's forgetting the concept of just trying to be like everybody else.
Being online, right? He's actually having real fun.
Yeah, I love that they had that little real friend argument. Because that's how friends, I get like that sometimes. Like, you know what? Fine. No, I'm going this way. Well, I'm going this way. I don't want to talk. I don't care if you get hurt. Oh, you got hurt.
Yes, people, off screen. This is how we argue with each other.
Well, and that was a good moment too. Like the simple question: are you my friend?
Right.
Like, that's a real ass question from that little robot.
Like, are we? Is this a two-way street?
Right. Because
I loved his living algorithm, or the living what would we call that? I guess would we call
Yeah,
that
it's a
dream board?
living algorithm. But yeah,
Except for
like
me.
one of those conspiracy theory boards.
Yeah, string theory board.
Yeah.
But it was just awesome because he was constantly changing things. He was getting to know himself.
Mhm.
And Barney was getting to know himself. Like Barney didn't realize how selfish he was the whole time.
Right.
Like you don't have friends, dude, because you're not trying to make friends. Like you just want them to run over here to you, huh?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that one-way street thing for sure. But ultimately, it's imperative that Ron has to sort of go into the system to fix the code because Mark realizes that his code is sort of steering kids into misery,
right?
And too much
or it
screen
can be
time.
used that way at least.
Right. Too much screen time, too much misery.
Right.
And he realizes that whatever Ron has inside of him, the little dream board that he used as his code is actually working the way he wanted it to work.
And it's funny because, well, two things. One of the coolest apps I know of on my phone is called Screen Time because it monitors how often I'm on the, like that's it helps with productivity in my opinion. But when you think about, there were two different situations, right? Or they had already had a preview run of Ron's code in the other bots, but it was the way it was given to the other bots that it wasn't quite the same because it wasn't their programming. It wasn't their algorithm. It wasn't.
They were just unlocking themselves.
Exactly. And so that didn't work. And it was funny because at first I was thinking like, whoa, wait, we're too close to the end for that to happen again. And we have to figure that out. So what's going to be different? And I realized what was different was it was a hard reset. And listen, we've all seen it. We all know for a fact, even if your Wi-Fi just freezes for a minute, a hard reset can do a world of help, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately means Ron has to inject himself into the entire system. He won't be able to live outside of that system, which I don't understand why that would be the case. I guess it's just for drama.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of basically taking him back to square one. Like, yes, dude. Like, I guess they kind of ran themselves in a corner, but also they needed something to kind of come back to the idea that Barney never needed a bebop, and still at the end he still doesn't need a bebop.
Right. Hey, and Ron got to become Ultron.
He said,
what?
Ron got to become Ultron.
Yeah, he did. Basically, he's Ultron.
Or whatever that dude name is, Dr. Zemo.
White Vision. Oh, Barry Zemo.
Not Zemo. I forget his name. Something. I mean, don't worry about it.
All right.
It's a Marvel thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the same time, by him doing that, now every Bebot is Barney's friend. Yeah, because every Bebot is Ron. So everywhere he goes, he gets high fives from everybody's Bebot, and I thought that was pretty cool. At the same time, it's kind of unfair to other kids.
Yeah. Well, he had Bebop Jesus, so yeah.
He did.
It did Matrix the right way.
That's right. That is the Matrix the right way.
Yes. You know what? That's what they need to do. Go watch this and remake that.
Yeah, the Matrix Absaloms.
Just leave it to wither away. It was a good series for what it was worth before.
Was it?
Was
it a good series or a good movie?
Actually, I'll go back to that. Yes, it was a good movie. I felt like the last three was just tugging at the money.
You know what? I think Animatrix doesn't get its credit, but I understand.
Animatrix is his own thing, which is good on his own.
I agree. That's kind of but it's in the universe.
The Animatrix was like the OG Love Death Robots.
Ooh, so much so. Maybe that's why I like it so much.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean that's pretty much all we have for this movie. It's it's short and sweet, and I think we can get into our ratings and let you know whether it's worth your time. So,
the night just started.
The night just started, please. This is on a party. Who wants to go first? I can go first if you want.
Go for it.
All right. Considering I picked this one, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. I've seen it twice. That's kind of that's a rarity for me because I don't watch movies twice very often, unless I really like it. So this one is a lot of fun. It's got a good heart. The animation is pretty good. Not as spectacular as Mitchell's versus Machines, but still good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I'm going to go for a 7.5. 7.5 is where I'm feeling it right now.
Okay.
All
Very
around
nice.
good movie, fun, lighthearted, good family flick.
Very nice. I agree. It is a very lighthearted, fun family movie. I enjoyed a lot of it. I enjoyed the different high and hot points. Wasn't many low points. I can definitely I like that about most movies, especially a movie like this that had a potential to be sad.
Hmm.
Um, and I also enjoy that it's the kind of movie like we're able to express how much we enjoy it without giving away a lot of the hot points. Like there's a
Mhm.
whole branch of things that happen in this movie that we really don't have to talk about. And they are equally as good and contribute well to the storyline. So I am going to give this a solid 8, which I have said before when it comes to the animations and these type of movies. That is a 10. So
Yeah.
an animation 10 will be an 8, and I will give
Yeah.
this an
An animated 8 is a 10
8.
for sure.
Wrong with you people.
Mhm.
I give it a 7.52 as well. I thought it was a good movie. There's nothing much to complain about. There's a little bit of parts like the forest scene. I thought that was kind of dragged out a bit, but kind of remind me of like some ET shit slash Stranger Things. But it was
Mm.
cool. Animation was cool. It was good. Like, you can't keep saying cool. It was good. Enjoyed the cast. You got some names you can recognize, and also a lot of old. I mean, not old, but like new, fresh people coming in doing voice acting. It was good all around, and this would be something I would watch a couple more times without any hesitation,
Nice.
and probably still enjoy it. And it will in my world of how I see things in a movie, it won't be much that change. It'll probably live up to what it's worth.
For sure.
Sounds
It'll
good.
age well,
Well, and
like wine.
the most important question is, did your little one like it?
He got bored into
Damn.
it again. His attention span kind of went in and out. You
He was
know,
like, "Are they making points, man? Give me something fun."
Yeah, maybe not enough action for him.
I
You
don't
could
know.
see you might like the action a little bit more.
For him to sit and watch SpongeBob all the way through, I'm like, okay. For him to watch the original Rugrats all the way through, and to the point he's like, "You giving mommy, daddy ideas of another baby? Hell no." But I'll watch it. Yeah.
All right. Well, that means we can't rate it any higher because it's got to be kid approved as well. So
Definitely.
Don't go upon my kid. His attention span, he'll enjoy for his worth. Then he's like, oh, Play-Doh.
yeah, that's how kids watch movies, anyways. Though,
Exactly.
so it makes
That's
sense.
why I give him another 3 years before he goes to a theater again.
And look, did you know they have theaters that have full play areas in them, like
That,
balls and slides and
well,
playpens?
that's the freaking theater I need to be going to next time. I
Yeah,
took that kid to see Paw Patrol last year, and
you'll be watching Paw Patrol. He'll be playing in the balls.
yeah,
Right.
which you mostly do. Fuck. Welcome to Parenthood.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Do you guys have anything else before we wrap it up?
Check out the movie. I did
Yeah.
enjoy it. Wrong's Gone Wrong can go right for your day and give you a good laugh, a few tears, and some feel goods.
Yeah.
Yes, people, if you want to catch it, it's on HBO Max and Disney Plus.
Perfect. Yeah, and thank you guys so much for listening. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. We are here Wednesdays and Sundays for you at 8:30 p.m., giving you our reviews for the latest movies and TV shows, and sometimes some old ones that we like to go back to. And yeah, we just appreciate that you take this trip with us. If you want to check out our podcasts that we do separately, Keelan has a podcast. It's called If Numbers Could Talk. It's on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. He has a Facebook page and a YouTube page you can catch him at, If Numbers Could Talk. And Dijon the Mustard's got a Twitch channel. He does all of his streaming there on Twitch, and then a YouTube channel afterwards to post all of his archive stuff. It's called Strawberries and Coffee. Go check him out on Twitch. Give him a subscription, please. Go watch his stuff as well, and make sure you subscribe to his YouTube page, because that's where you can get all of the archives of stuff that you may miss. He's on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m. Strawberries and Coffee. I have a podcast called Exofathom. It's on Monday nights at 8 p.m. And we have a Facebook page and a YouTube page. So if you want to check that out, you can do that as well. If you're a purist at heart and just want to hear us blab around about movies and TV and critique things for which we have no credentials, we thank you for taking this trip through the Screen Time Continuum with us here every Sunday and Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. For Screen Time Continuum, I am Nick.
I'm Keelan.
I'm the Mustard.
Good night.